Welcome into episode 43 of the Cleveland Sports Realm. I'm Jerome, that's Kevin, and Derek's over there.
Behind the camera.
Yeah, you folks can't see him. But anyhow,
we can.
Kevin and I can. And episode 43, we'll do it Kevin style here. We'll go in honor of boss man, TJ Ward.
Good.
Former Browns safety is in honor of Browns just about to kick off. And sorry, I got to get my glasses on here so I could see what the hell I'm doing. But anyhow, so speaking of the Browns, Kevin, we talked a little bit Browns history there, more Browns history. Yep. They went undefeated in the preseason again. The last time that happened, they didn't win a game in the regular season.
No.
I didn't like them going undefeated in the preseason, but at least it's 3 games instead of 4.
Yeah,
so,
I guess.
I don't know.
I do want to give you some credit here, Jerome, really quick, before we actually start getting into the analysis of the preseason and stuff that's actually going on with the Browns. Great player who you chose to do this episode in honor of. TJ Ward's, he was one of my favorite players growing up, especially in middle school, early high school. Big foundation of those early 2010 Browns. So great shout out for him.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it. Good.
Yeah. Great, number 43, safety. He was a beast. But yeah, the Browns, I was actually at the game. I was in attendance with a few friends, a couple friends of the show, Robbie and Matt. And we got there a little bit late. Tried to take the shoreway there, and it was just about as jam-packed as I've ever seen it. So we got there about halfway through the first quarter. I missed the touchdown, or I should say I missed it live. I missed the touchdown from Flacco to Fannin. Saw the play after the game, and obviously looked very, very nice. Nice to see the connection there early from the veteran and the rookie. But yeah, it was fun to be in attendance for that game. And Gabriel played well. Shador, not really. No,
I got to eat crow on this one. Kid had a rough showing, and all the Shador fans need. I think we realized why. Maybe the Browns, including me, put Gabriel where he was on the depth chart and put Shador where he was on the depth chart. I want to make it very clear, though. I don't think that Shador Sanders, I still think is going to be a very good NFL quarterback. I'm just going to make that clear. But Saturday was not his best showing, and I do, however, push back on the narrative that the Browns are setting him up for failure.
I completely disagree with that.
There's a national narrative that's being spun right now about the Browns setting up Shador for failure, and I, for one, think that narrative is complete and utter horse shit. I'm like very vocal about being a huge Shador fan, and I am, and I think he's going to be damn good. But the Browns, I think, actually, by doing what they're doing, might be setting up Shador for success.
Yeah, I think it's definitely better than taking him in the top 5 of the draft and then putting him out there day one. Like, I think that's where I see it. And it's going to take a couple, knock on wood, a couple injuries or a couple really bad performances from Flacco and Gabriel in order for him to be able to put on the field. And I do fully expect to see all 3 of those quarterbacks start one game at least for the Browns this year. But yeah, this was something, kind of going to Shador. That was kind of, obviously very polarizing figure. So we can talk about him. But, there were a couple plays. We saw it earlier in the preseason, and we saw it again this past Saturday. Him just holding on to the ball too long, not playing in rhythm. That's the one thing that's very nice to see with Gabriel is that when one read's there, it goes to the next one, ball's typically out. If not, he'll drag out the play. But if Shador's first read's not there, he takes a little bit longer to get to the second read, I've noticed, and by the time he's at his third, the entire play's broken down, and that was something that worried me at Colorado. You can go back to the episodes that we talked about pre-draft. That was the one thing. A lot of people went back to the sacks that he took, or how many times he was sacked, I should say, while he was at Colorado, and a lot of people contributed that to attributed that to a poor offensive line. And I always thought, his offensive line wasn't the best, but I thought a lot of the sacks that he took at Colorado had to do with how long he holds onto the ball. I think he gets very in his head about his completion percentage. he almost refuses to throw the ball away. We saw it at Colorado, and we saw it again this past Saturday, where he's okay taking a 3-yard loss and running out of bounds as long as it doesn't affect his completion percentage. Following play, he runs backwards for minus 23 yards. Just him alone brought that from 1st and 10, could have been 3rd and 10. Instead, it was 3rd and 36. 3rd and 36, excuse me, because he didn't throw the ball away. So it was very frustrating to see. And again, Jerome, what you were alluding to earlier, I think it's a huge reason as to why Dylan Gabriel's ahead of him on the depth chart right now.
Yeah, and I do think he didn't have a great offensive line at Colorado. I do think that was a big impact on him too, and maybe why he does what he does sometimes. But it was kind of disappointing as a Shedeur fan because I thought he regressed from that first showing, where he did, make reads and make decisions quickly and stood in the pocket and didn't bail. And, if the Browns, look, I truly think the fact that they're taking their time in developing him, maybe they do have a long-term vision for him, which does excite me as a Shedeur fan, but we'll see.
I mean, you would think, though, based off of where they were drafted and where they're slotted on in the depth chart, that they might be game planning for Gabriel. They might not be game planning for Shedeur. I mean, you would think that based off of where they were drafted and where they are in the depth chart.
Yeah, I wonder, if their evaluation, they held firm that Dylan always was better, and it drove a lot of people, including me, nuts, but it's like the Browns kind of, and they don't get many of these, had an "I told you so" moment to the fans on Saturday, because we saw Dylan Gabriel execute a very good drive. Now, I'm not going to go crazy. The Rams, like most of their guys who are worth a damn, didn't even fly to Cleveland for the trip. So, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and what were the odds, too? I know we've been talking about, Shedeur Sanders, whether he was, a first-round talent, maybe day 2 talent. That's what I kind of had him as. I mean, nobody saw him going day 3. But as soon as the, the end of the draft happens, then we're talking about, these NFL general managers, these head coaches. Mel Kiper, biggest example of criticizing all the NFL GMs and head coaches over the whole fall of Shedeur Sanders during that process. I mean, what are the odds that all of us armchair quarterbacks know better than all 32 NFL teams that do this for a living? You know what I'm saying? Like, and not that falls don't happen or not that teams don't reach, because that does happen. But you would think any team, it doesn't matter who it is, whether they need a quarterback or not, a talent like that, if you truly believe that he's a day 1 talent and he's available on day 3, why wouldn't you just take him? I feel like the NFL teams knew more than what the media was trying to hype up.
Well, I also do think, how much you want to believe that Eric Dickerson has come out with this theory, the rushing, single season rushing leader of all time. Came out. Have you heard about this?
I think I know where you're going with it, but I'll let you finish.
Yeah, the Eric Dickerson theory that the NFL told teams not to take Shedeur, and they wanted him to. Like, I don't understand why. Like, why the NFL would care. I mean, I don't know, but I mean that theory, maybe it does have some merit, because I feel like if the NFL told teams not to take him, who would be the one team that would take him and disobey? Would be the Browns.
It would be the Cleveland Browns, 100%.
So,
and I think there is, like, I'm not going to say that there's 100% truth to that or 100% whether that's, BS or not. But, I mean, I could see if what some of the rumors were pre-draft had led to, and that was that he was showing up, kind of not taking it as serious as a lot of the other prospects were. We're treating it as a recruiting visit as opposed to a job interview. Then I could see the NFL, I could truthfully see the NFL saying, hey, we are not going to become the NBA where players are dictating what's going on within the league. We have to do something to make sure that power stays with us. And if that was told, then they clearly were making an example out of him. And I think overall,
which would piss me off, but
overall, I think it's better for the league, though. I think it's better for the league that you're not letting these players come in and say, hey, I'm not going to this place, or I'm going in the top 10, but I'm not going to these specific teams. Or, like, you have to take that process seriously. You have to, and you have to interview well for a bunch of teams. And granted, I know his dad didn't do that. I forget what team it was. that had Deion Sanders in for, a pre-draft interview and a pre-draft get to know you, and he had basically said like, yeah, actually I'm not coming because I'm not going to fall to you. Like, I remember Deion Sanders. I remember a story about that. I forget what specific team it was, and then 30 years later, we've got Shedeur. Rumors, I mean, it's all speculation. It's all kind of what you read, what you hear. You can kind of take some of that with a grain of salt, I think. Some of it's probably a little bit exaggerated. Some of it may not be, but, where there's smoke, there's fire. So if we're hearing that from multiple sources, probably something was going on behind the scenes throughout that process.
Well, I mean, the Browns, give him credit since he's been here. They continuously tell us, and they stand pat. Obviously, I mean, if not, they're not going to say it otherwise publicly, but they keep saying Shedeur's been great. Shedeur's been great.
Yeah.
He's been great. So who knows? I remember way back when I had a source from inside the building tell me that when he first got there, he wasn't.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
Wasn't, the most focused guy in the building, let's say.
During film sessions, if I remember correctly.
Yes. So who knows? I mean, that was months ago. He was drafted in April. It's about to be September, so we'll see. Anyway, talk about a quarterback who's not here. The Browns basically just got back what they lost. I mean, I guess they lost DTR, but I don't know how much of an asset he is anymore.
I wouldn't even consider that a loss, considering the Eagles cut him, and he definitely wasn't going to make the roster this year either. So he was just something that the Eagles were probably like, yeah, sure, we'll take a flyer and see. The overall of that trade was just a 5th-round pick. So we ended up giving up a 2025 5th-round pick for Pickett, turn around, get a 2026 for him.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine for me too. I mean, it's something that we've been speculating ever since they drafted the 2 quarterbacks.
The Raiders had a need. Aiden O'Connell has a broken wrist, and you got to have somebody you trust behind Geno. And I'm starting to wonder if Kenny Pickett's going to have like the Brian Hoyer arc, story arc of his NFL career, just career
backup
every year, but change teams every year.
Yeah, it very well could be, and we've seen quarterbacks like that before that just kind of bounce around. That what's their specialty? They just don't turn the ball over. Really, they just want somebody that if the starting quarterback is injured, they still want to remain competitive, and they just don't want to risk the turnovers, especially the turnovers we saw with Jameis last year that threw us out of games. So. Yeah, no, I completely get it from the Raiders' perspective, and I'm actually looking forward to see what that Raiders team, how they're going to look this year, actually, because we don't really know what's going to go on with their receiver room. Jacoby Myers has made it clear that he doesn't really want to play for them anymore or wants a new contract.
They don't want to give him one, which why wouldn't you? You have no other good receivers.
Ashton Genty should be fun to watch, and then obviously Brock Bowers, who I think is already, you can make a case for the best tight end in the league after his rookie year, easily top 5, probably top 3. That Raiders team should be fun with Geno reunited with Pete Carroll too.
Yeah, I think they'll be all right. I don't know if there'll be anything to write home about, but they could be.
I think they'll be an average team that could potentially push for a 7 seed.
I think
potentially
their defense stinks though. I mean, I was looking at their depth chart the other day, and there's some of those guys who they're starting on their defense stinks.
Yeah, and they are in an absolute gauntlet of a division. Kansas City, Denver, and the Chargers, like all 3 of them should be good teams this year.
All I can say about them defensively is they better hope that Mad Max gets home a lot this year, because they're going to need him to.
Yeah, no, 100% they will.
So Browns quarterbacks, depth chart settled. How confident are you as a Browns fan if, Joe, something happens and Dylan Gabriel has to go in there? I don't know if I'm that confident, but I mean, that's what they have. So whether I think it's going to be, or whether I have confidence or not in it, doesn't really matter. The Browns do, and that's what they're going with.
Yeah, I kind of have Cody Kessler vibes from Dylan Gabriel in terms of when he were to enter a game this year. I just feel like if he was the starter for us the entire year, we're probably looking at a duplicate of last year. We're probably looking at about 3-14, maybe even 2-15, 4-13 at the absolute ceiling. Shedeur Sanders, if he were starting all 17 games, you want to talk about a wild card. Like, I have no clue. I mean, if he got hot and was pushed, I mean, you might be looking at 8-9, 7-10. But if he's doing the crap that he was doing this past weekend, I mean, you're looking at a very similar 2-15, 2-15 type of ball
I
club.
agree. If you get Rams Shador, you're screwed. If you get Panthers Shador, hey.
Panthers Shador still, like I said about that guy, I still think he got away with a few things. We're probably looking at 4 to 5 wins.
Yeah. So that's what the quarterback room is. I can say this, that I people are going to call me nuts after last weekend. I still don't really have that much interest in seeing Dylan Gabriel.
How can you watch the game this past weekend and say you don't have any interest in seeing Dylan Gabriel? And I can tell you're about to transition into a point about wanting to see Shador. How can you watch the game this past weekend and say that with conviction, with a smile on your face as I'm looking at you? How can you do that?
I said people are going to call me crazy.
I'm doing it right now.
Because
I didn't even let you finish the point.
I just trust Shador more. I don't know what it is.
I'm the opposite. I trust Gabriel more because I know that he's going to go through the reads, whether they're going to be great. And that 2-minute drill that he led at the end of the first half was awesome. And I do want to say there was a throw that definitely got away with him. He completely airmailed it, and it probably should have been a pick. But it wasn't.
Are you talking about the one where he damn near got Jamari Thrash killed?
Yes.
Okay. I know which one you're talking about then, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it was on like that. It wasn't quick enough to be a slant, but wasn't deep enough to be a post. It was kind of like almost like a dig route, basically, right over the middle. Yeah. That's the exact play that I'm talking about. But he got away with it, led the drive down the field, and the kid that ended up making the team, Larvadane, I've been mispronouncing his name.
Yeah, Gage.
Larvadane, I want to say is his name. Yeah. He actually had a drop right near the goal line of that drive too, as well. And Gabriel still managed to overcome that and lead them down the field. So I was impressed with that.
Then I think he ended up getting the touchdown.
Yeah, he did. He did. Good point. I trust Gabriel to be able to go through the Stefanski system. The thing with the Stefanski system, and we learned about this during the OBJ era, is that there's something to be said about the timing within an offense. And that's what Baker Mayfield did so well for us in 2020. And even, it wasn't Stefanski, but in 2018 as well. It was the timing routes. The play action takes 2 to 3 seconds to develop, and at this second, I got to throw it here. That was what made the Baker Mayfield Browns so successful. And then, and now we have Gabriel, who's known for doing that at Oregon, and we've seen him do it well a few times now this preseason. And Shador Sanders is one of those that, he's always, in my opinion, from what I watch of him, he's always trying to look at making the big play. And I will say there was a play that was a very athletic play. I don't know if it was the right play where he had spun out of 2 to 3 tackles. This is this past weekend against the Rams. He'd spun out of 2 to 3 tackles. It was kind of in the middle of being brought down to the ground and ended up throwing it to one of the running backs over the middle. It was a little bit behind him. Running back still should have made the play. It probably realistically would have been a gain of 30 to 40 yards with including the run after catch. So missed opportunity there. The stat line would have looked better for Shador. But again, it was one of those situations he got himself into where he's running around in and outside of the pocket and ends up getting into too much danger. And luckily somebody ended up being open as a result of it. But you're not going to get that much time every single time you drop back. And that's what I feel like I keep seeing out of him is just the waiting and not actually processing.
Just to play devil's advocate, though, I will say this about Shador. He did not have the line in front of him. Gabriel did. Gabriel still had, I think, a couple backups and stuff. Shador had guys who all got cut yesterday.
He was also facing a lot of people who got cut. He was playing with the same talent that he was facing.
That's fair.
And I'll say that for Flacco and Gabriel too. That's why those numbers I don't. Yeah.
Well, either way, I think the Browns' best case scenario would be that Joe Flacco is able to play as many games as possible.
Yeah, at least 6, like we said last week. We're expecting at least 6. I'm hoping for minimum 10 to 12. And then at that point, if it's like, okay, we're 4-6, 4-8, let's see what Gabriel's got. Let's see what Shador's got.
Right.
Like I want to see at least 10 games out of Flacco now that we know that Pickett's not going to be here.
And I know I just keep sounding like a Shador apologist, but somebody said, well, no, Gabriel's the backup. You can't. Like, if Joe goes down, it's definitely going to him first. And I said, Gabriel's the backup now. I said, but what if Gabriel, because typically during NFL practice, okay, your starter takes about 90% of the first team reps, and your backup gets about 10 just in case that week.
Sure.
Right? And then your third stringer plays scout team.
Yep.
Okay. So what if Shador balls out on the scout team? He could jump Gabriel. Like, it could happen.
It could.
But it's unlikely. But just throwing that out there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, we see that all the time. But what was it? The Browns just did this where who was the third string that jumped the second string? This just happened within the last 2 years.
Oh, well.
It happened like mid-season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why am I blanking on it? Was it DTR?
It was DTR.
DTR just jumped Jameis out of nowhere, wasn't it?
He jumped Josh Dobbs to the point where they kicked Josh Dobbs to the curb.
Okay, for some reason I thought there was a different instance, but I know that, that would have been 2023.
DTR last year did jump Jameis for a few games where at the beginning of the year he was the backup and Kevin Stefanski said it was game specific and they had
it was weird.
They had a DTR package and all that. Remember that?
Yeah.
Well,
I think that's probably what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, they had a whole DTR package and Jameis was like the third quarterback a lot of those games. And then,
so hey, if there's a team to do it, this is the regime and this is the team.
Right, and then also whenever it came to, when Deshaun finally went down, it went to Jameis, and then it went to DTR, and then it went to Jameis, and then DTR sucked, and so on and so forth.
There's a Bailey Zappi sighting at some point. I mean,
by the way, he's back.
Is he?
Yeah. He's on the practice squad.
Oh, good
Bailey
Lord.
Zappi is back.
Okay.
Brown sent him to
That's
practice.
fine.
So let's talk about the other guys they signed to the practice squad. Cole Strange, I think it's a waste of time. The guy stinks.
Yeah, I think it's a waste of time. He was first-round pick 2022, considered at the time to be a huge reach to the New England Patriots. I remember I was at BW3 for that draft.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what do you know about him, Mr. Draft?
He's fine. He was projected as like a third, fourth-round pick, and the Patriots they went Patriots and drafted him in the first round. Bill Belichick at the time, just known for kind of doing stuff like that. He sees a guy he likes and he takes him. I want to say he came out of UTSA.
Okay.
I want to say Cole Strange did. But yeah,
Well,
basically he came out as an average prospect, was drafted way too high, and then he's cut after a few seasons.
Anytime I've seen him in the game, he just gets ran around. It's like watching Jedrick Wills highlights. Just boom. That's consistently with the same thing with Cole Strange.
Is that right?
So the Browns just must love getting a tackle. It just gets ran over.
Yeah.
They got rid of Jed Wills, and they just missed watching somebody get beat like a drum every
Cole
day.
Strange isn't on the active roster. I saw a rumor that he could potentially be in the next week or two, but as of right now, he's not on the active roster. He's just part of the practice squad. And I think the Browns already have some pretty decent depth on the offensive line, so unless something crazy happens, I don't expect him to play a major role on this team anytime soon.
Neither do I. Another practice squad guy, Malachi Corley, third-round pick of the Jets last year, just didn't pan out. He was cut there. That one I don't mind. There's some intrigue. Look, their wide receiver depth is super thin. I mean, it's Jerry Jeudy and question mark.
Cedric Tillman, Isaiah Bond.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know.
Like the only proven legit wide receiver in that
Jerry
room
Jeudy
is Jerry Jeudy. And then it's like Jerry Judy's here, and then we go here, and we have a whole bunch
It's a complete fall
We have a
off.
whole bunch of guys who could go to here, but we don't know.
Right.
So we'll get there.
Yeah, and as friend of the show Phil Yan was texting with us earlier today, they're just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing if it sticks.
Which is
right now.
fine.
Yeah, I think it's fine too.
Totally fine. So the other thing, or another guy they waiver claimed was Rocket Sanders, which they now have 3 running backs. People seem to be excited about that. And
I saw he's an undrafted guy. I was reading a little bit about him today. Undrafted guy, bigger dude though, like 6 foot 220, 230. I want to say,
goal line
known
back.
for being a bulldozer. Yeah. Do you think that screams anything of what's going on with Quinshon Judkins now? The fact that they only carried 2 running backs onto the active roster once they did their final cuts, and now obviously they claim Raheem Sanders, Rocket Sanders. So now they have their goal line, their bigger running back, I should say. Do you think that screams anything of what's going on with Quinshon Judkins right now?
I've been told that something's going to come of that soon. That's what
you've been told?
I have a source that told me that something's going to come of this soon. Like, there's going to be some resolution.
Okay.
And I hope that source is right. We'll see what happens. Because I
hope the source is right, too. I just want to know what's going on. I'm so sick of the ambiguity around this situation right now.
I think the other thing is, like, we knew that in the NFL this year, there was this big hoopla about second rounders getting guaranteed deals.
Yep. I believe the first one for it to happen was Jaden Higgins of the Texans.
Yes.
And that was when all the second rounders were like, okay, well, let's see if we can get the guarantees.
Excuse me. And then, so Quinshawn being the 35th pick in the draft, if he's cleared by legal, I can guarantee you his agent's fighting for a fully guaranteed deal right now. And also, because of what happened, the Browns are probably like, well, wait a minute. We're not giving you a fully guaranteed
100%.
deal. So my guess would be that their contract sticking point. But like I said, the source I talked to told me, expect something soon. I was told we'll have a resolution by the first game of the year. That remains to be seen.
Yeah, we got a week and a half by the time this drops.
Right. So we're looking at 10 days from their opening game.
I have a feeling it's going to be the Browns that end up caving because Judkins was a part. I've said this. I'm going to sound like a broken record. He was part of the Travis Hunter deal. Like, when you look back at that deal, if Travis Hunter becomes the Shohei Ohtani that Andrew Berry compared him to, if he becomes the superstar that everybody thought, can't miss, he's elite at wide receiver, he's elite at defensive back, you can't miss with this kid. If he is that, you cannot look back on that deal and say that the 36th overall pick, just basically you couldn't come to terms with him, or you had a falling out with him because of contract disputes immediately. That cannot be part of that. And I think the Browns know that. I actually think, looking back on this, when the news dropped, what would you say, a little bit over a month ago now?
Yeah, about 6 weeks ago.
Okay, about a month and a half ago. I thought, okay, sweet, the Browns have all the leverage in this situation now. Now he's not facing any criminal charges. The case has been dropped. It's only up to the NFL now to decide what the suspension, if there's going to be a suspension, what that suspension is going to look like. I think Judkins has the leverage now.
100%.
I mean, he can say, we saw the rumors, and they also kind of got a little bit debunked of, it could happen, but it's extremely unlikely that he could look to go back to college and play. I don't see that happening. I saw that report. I don't see that happening. But I did see the report, so if Judkins wants, he can play that into his hand, and it's him that holds the leverage now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know how that would work, because I thought once you declared for the draft, you're ineligible to return to college. I thought that was the way it went. He declared. He could still, by technical rule, if he wanted to play his whole time, he would be the starting running back at The Ohio State University right now. But he declared, so I don't know. I don't know if maybe there's an opt-out or something. Either way,
well, there's nothing. There's no contract in place.
Right. There's not. You're right.
And there is a limitation to that. My understanding. I don't know what the deadline is, but there is a deadline where he can re-enter the draft next year.
If nothing comes.
But I know that there's a deadline for that. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, and then the other thing of that is too, I look at this Browns running back room, and I like Dylan Sampson.
I love Dylan Sampson.
Okay. I like Dylan Sampson. we talked about how Jerome Ford is -2, 2, 3,
58.
72. Yeah,
yeah, literally, week. That's how it is.
and I don't see anything changing with that. He's going to be in his 4th year now.
Yeah.
So my thing with that is, is this Ford's 3rd or 4th year? You're Mr. Draft.
I want to say he was drafted 2021. Right? Because it was the 2022 season that he ended up having to take over the full-time role because of Chubb's injury.
I'm going to say...
Oh, no, that would have been 2023. I think it was the 2022 draft then.
So this would be his 4th year.
Yes. That's right.
Okay.
Because that's absolutely correct.
So we know what he is. If the Browns are going to be okay or competitive or whatever the hell we think they are, and we'll get to all that next week. Next week we'll do a whole record prediction and all that. We'll play the
next week's going to be kind of like last week, very Browns heavy. And
so I look at the Browns and I'm like, well, damn, they need this son. they need this boy. They need him bad.
No, they do. They need him desperately.
So I'm hoping that something comes to fruition. Like I said, if not, it's going to be Jerome. I mean, they released their initial 53. So right now you have Jerome Ford is probably your most down back. I would guess Sampson is your third down back. And then, and your power back is probably Rocket.
Yeah, I actually think at some point, depending on what goes on with Judkins, if that running back room remains how it is with Sanders, Ford, and Sampson, I think by week 4, week 5, Sampson's taken over as the full-time starter.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
My guess would be, I think the NFL probably wants to make an example out of Judkins, but if there's if there's nothing there, I don't know what they're going to do. But the NFL, we talked about this
They pick and
ago.
choose. They just gave 6 games to Rashee Rice, who put lives, plural, in danger.
Yes. They have no rhyme or reason for these disciplinary matters.
No, they do. They pick and choose. Remind me, Jerome, what happened with the Michael Hall case last year? Was that dropped against him?
Yeah, but I can't remember. I think.
I'm sorry to put. I know I'm putting you on the spot.
I don't remember specifically, but they still suspended him 5 or 6 games.
That's what I'm saying. If it was dropped, they still suspended him 5 to 6 games.
So hopefully nothing. Well, hopefully we get Quinshon Judkins. One last Browns thing. They claimed a guy who I quite honestly have never heard of.
Jarek Bernard Converse?
Yeah. I mean, is he working for the shoe company? I don't know.
I don't know if he's wearing his Chucks or not. But 6th round corner from a couple of years ago. Last played for the Jets. I honestly don't know a ton about him, but obviously the Browns felt very similarly to how you and I do about that secondary, and they wanted to address it, get a little bit more depth there, and they do it with this kid. We'll see how he is. I'm not real, like I said, I haven't watched any tape on him, but obviously the Browns think he's better than what they've got in the room right now, so I'm a fan of it.
Yeah, they cut Dom Jones too, and we've talked about it extensively last week, and we'll talk about it next week. It's Denzel Ward and a bunch of question marks there too.
Are you considering Newsome a question mark?
Back on the outside, yes, I am. Because I don't know.
I don't know if I am. Because he was actually, you could argue he was better on the outside before Emerson got here.
We'll find out. Because
I do like him.
He's outside all year long.
Yeah, no, I do like him better. I will say I do like him better as a nickel. I think he just fits the Jim Schwartz scheme better as a nickel corner. But I've always liked Greg Newsome. I was a fan of that draft pick. I'm a fan of him. The only thing I don't like is he's one of those cornerbacks that if the quarterback throws it 20 yards above the receiver's head, Greg Newsome's letting everybody know that he was the one in coverage there.
I also just don't like that he's doesn't seem to be able to get interceptions.
Yeah, I mean, he did have one of my favorite Browns interceptions of all time, though.
I know. Yeah, oh yeah. We'll see.
In Baltimore.
I mean,
pick 6.
It's a big year for Greg. And the Brown,
yeah, it is. It's a huge year for him.
He can get paid pretty well, and that's A. And B, the Browns need you. They need you this year. They're not going to be the ones to pay you, but they need you. So show up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well. I mean, he's playing for himself. I mean, that's the thing, though, about these contract years is that they are playing for themselves. I mean, obviously he's putting the brown and orange on and he's going out there and playing for the Cleveland Browns, but at the end of the day, he wants his bag at the end of the year.
And I don't
whether it's
blame
from the
him.
Browns or not. And it goes back to, I saw a clip of Shelby Harris from last year when the Browns were completely out of it, trying to motivate the Browns defensive line room of hey, we're out of it, but guess what? You still want to play in the NFL. You got to go out there and bust your butt because no team's going to want to see you half-assing it out there.
Bad tape. Your most recent tape's
exactly.
The tape they go on.
Exactly. So Newsome's going to be out there busting his ass. I feel pretty confident in that to try to get his payday.
Hopefully he has a good year. We'll talk about more of that next week.
Yes.
On to the Guardians. And this one's tough, but it was the right thing to do. It was the right thing to do.
The namesake of 2 episodes ago.
Carlos Santana was put on waivers. As of right now, no one's claimed him. No one's going to claim him. The Dolans were praying to God someone claimed him. If they can get out of paying that $2 million, they would have a party. They would have a staff party for their staff.
Yeah, that's yeah.
But guess what? No one's going to claim him. So I'm going to guess that they're just going to release him. I don't know.
I mean, I would imagine.
Because at this point, listen, this thing's over. And it's okay. It is. Right? Like,
What are they, 66 and 66?
after today, they're 66 and 66, 4.5 back. Like, it probably has been over since about the 4th of July. The hot streak made it interesting again, and then they were going to have to play, like, the hot streak was going to have to be the way they regularly played, and then they went out and just had a atrocious stretch where they got swept by the Braves, proceeded to go to Arizona and lose 2 out of 3, proceeded to go get swept by Texas and score 1 run the entire series, then come home and lose 9-0 to Tampa. And they win the last 2 against Tampa.
Let's go.
I was there today, thanks to courtesy of our good buddy Joe.
As we record Wednesday evening.
Yeah, thank you. I was there this afternoon. I went into work super early this morning, so I was able to make that ball game. And it wasn't just me. I'd say the paid attendance was 23,000, and 23,000 mouths and jaws were on the concrete. When there's one out in the ninth, Pete Fairbanks is one of the better closers in the MLB.
My breakout player of the year steps up to the plate.
And Kevin's breakout player of the year, who, by the way, nothing against Kevin, has been just hideously awful at the plate. Hasn't been able to hit a fastball the entire season. So if I'm Pete Fairbanks, I'm blowing gas by him.
Yeah.
Pete Fairbanks decides to hang a changeup.
That's right.
85 miles an hour. And Nolan Jones hit his first home run since Christmas of last year, it felt like. I mean, and he didn't miss it. I'll give him credit. He got
Smoked it.
He got every stitch of it.
And we hit it like 430, right?
Yeah. It was, I think, 420. And I was 2 sections over from it. And I see the ball coming relatively in my direction. And my exact reaction was, no blanking way. No blanking way.
I'm glad you kept it clean.
I am in disblanking belief. I was just shocked. I said, and I literally looked at the guy next to me, Joe, and I said, it couldn't have been a fastball because he can't hit one.
And then you looked up?
And I looked it up, and it wasn't. and I did have to laugh. Good for him. He probably needed that more than anybody on that team. This is a guy who we were expecting to hit 25 to 30 home runs this year. He's very well most likely not going to get 5 because he hit his 4th today. He has not hit one since
Yeah, and
I know I made the joke about Christmas. I don't believe he's hit one since like the first week of May.
And they got 30 games left?
Yeah. He's probably
he might get one more.
Oh boy, 5 for our power bet. I can hardly contain
You know what
my
is funny
excitement.
in our preview episode for the Tribe season this year, we had both said we were expecting probably 20 home runs from Nolan Jones, but we want it to get to 30. We were expecting 20, we wanted 30, and what we were expecting, he's at 20% of. About 80% through the year, roughly.
4. Today was his 4th.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Anyway, good win for them today. They needed it. It was
to keep them mathematically not to keep them mathematically alive, but
yes,
kind of.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, they're not mathematically eliminated, but you haven't heard me say it. I don't think all season. It's over.
Oh, you woke up and smelled the coffee. Thing's been over since the 4th of July.
Well, a month and a half, almost 2 months ago. You think it's been over that long?
Remember, we had the whole debate.
Yeah,
we could go
and
back.
it wasn't over. It wasn't over because they were right back in at the. Yeah, they were right back into the playoffs.
They got
in a few
back
weeks.
into it, and then they decided to go have just the worst road trip. Because the thing was, that after that 10-game losing streak, which we both did agree on, they needed to play with flames coming out of their ass the rest of the year. And they did for a 30-game stretch, and then they started just crapping the bed all over the place again. And they end up coming back and winning that game today, and they take 2 out of 3 at Tampa. My first thought walking out of that stadium today was, good series win, too little, too late. Maybe you should have scored more than one effing run the entire weekend in Texas.
Yeah, that probably would have done us some favors.
Yeah, I mean, It's like that Texas series was so big because you were right on the same like line of each other. You were ahead of them. You were, I believe, 2.5 ahead of them going into that weekend series. And now you're like tied with Texas. It's like that weekend series in Texas was probably the single-handedly most destructive individual series of the year because of where it came and what you needed to do.
I think you could probably make a very strong argument for that, especially that Texas and they're not that great of a baseball team.
No, and neither are we, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
And realistically, I had a couple thoughts walking out of that place today, and also I sat here and did something I've never done, and I also did it kind of in a reverse backhanded compliment way of waxing poetic about Nolan Jones, probably the most positive you'll ever hear me speak of him.
Love him.
But Manzardo ends up winning that game, so let's give him some
against
love.
His former team.
Yeah, against the team that drafted him. So that was
He's
cool.
had some good luck against the Rays this year.
Yeah, he has.
He's played well against them. Took Savali deep earlier this year.
Savali's on the
But
White Sox.
Yeah, that's on the White Sox. That's a good point.
Because we still have to go to Tampa.
Yeah.
But either way, okay, so, I've watched this team too long, so I'm sitting there, and Kate Smith does do a great job in the top of the top of the 10th to push it to the bottom of the 10th. So, I'm losing my train of thought here. So Bo Naylor was the leadoff hitter because Angel was the ghost runner. So Bo Naylor lays down a nice sack bunt to get him to third. Okay, well then they walk Quan. Okay, which I don't blame him. I would have done the same thing if I was Tampa Bay, if I was Kevin Cash. So they walk Quan. Rocchio comes up and swings and misses, and it was an atrocious strikeout. And Manzardo comes up, and I'm like, they literally had a runner on third with one out. All you got to do is hit a fly ball or a ground ball, and they couldn't do it. I'm like, they're going to lose this game. So Manzardo comes up and takes two absolutely pitiful swings out of the strike zone. And then, again, Tampa's bullpen, Griffin Jacks just leaves one right over the middle of the plate, and he takes it right up the middle for the walk-off. And it was a fun atmosphere down there today, and it was good and all that, and I enjoyed it. I really did. It was a nice afternoon at the ballpark. I got nothing bad to say. It was good company. I was with a good group of gentlemen. All was good. But I had a couple thoughts walking out of there, and I was already getting to them. One, too little, too late. And two, I was sitting there, and I looked at the scoreboard today. I see a lot of ones and low twos for batting average. A lot of OPSs in the 4s and 5s when league average is 700. And I thought to myself, we're at the point of the year where who the hell who played today is going to be here next year? And I couldn't come up with like surefire more than 5 position players who I think are going to be here.
Yeah, what we're thinking, Jose, Kyle Manzardo.
The thing was today it was even more weird because they decided to give Jose a day off. So you're looking at that lineup, and friend of the show, Philly Ann, pointed this out this morning in a text message to me. That literally looked like a 2010 back then Indians lineup. I mean, it was an atrocity. I like CJ Kafis. I think he's a nice young player. Too. He is in no way in 2025 ready to bat cleanup yet.
No. I actually like Kafis a lot. I don't know if I like him. I don't know if I see him being like a foundational, like everyday player for this team, but I do like him being a part of this team's future as a rotational corner outfielder / first baseman. Yeah. Like very much a platoon / rotational player. I like that.
Stephen Vogt would love that. It's right up his alley.
Yeah.
But I was leaving the ballpark, and I thought to myself, well, obviously Ramirez, that goes without saying. Manzardo cemented his spot to me. He's here without saying. Quan. Well,
that's
don't know.
Up in the air.
That's not even.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so we're saying like take trades out of the equation, take whatever, but like what players can actually be on this team next year?
Major league worthy.
Major league worthy, right.
I'm sorry. We said it months ago, or at least a month and a half ago. We all agreed. It's time. The Bo Naylor thing is just so strung out and over. I'm done. I have no interest anymore.
Yeah, I'm done with it too.
I'm over it.
He's had a few years of chances now.
I said he was going to hit 25 homers this year. He's batting 178. I'm done. I thought him, no. Arias and Rocchio with Bazana knocking on the door. I think they got to pick one or two, and I personally would pick Rocchio.
I'd pick Rocchio too.
Okay. Besides that, I was looking at the lineup, and I'm like, Angel, he's been so cold lately. Like,
well, again, he's one of those players we've talked about it, just how streaky he is. He's either the hottest player in baseball or the coldest. Like, there's no in between.
I also think, like, and a lot of people have been pointing this out online, he's so bad left-handed. Maybe they ought to consider him to break up switch hitting this offseason because he's a damn good hitter right-handed. He can't hit left-handed right now.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
There's enough data collected in my book. So I was like, him, I'm iffy. And, like, Kafis, I think, will be here. And then, like, I was looking at, I'm like, Nolan Jones? I don't think so.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, but then they always want to be the smartest guys in the room, so they're still probably going to try to prove to absolutely no one on planet Earth they got the Tyler Freeman for Nolan Jones swap right, because they got their butts kicked on that one, to put it kindly.
Yeah, unfortunately. And that was a trade, too, in hindsight. You know, everybody, there were Rockies fans and Guardians fans. Everybody thought that the Guardians had won that deal when it happened.
Another trade we lost. So, one more quick Guardians thing. Tanner Bybee, the blow up the other night. Tanner Bybee got paid by our standards. Anybody else? I mean, it wasn't much, but he got paid by Cleveland standards. Tanner Bybee had a big blow up the other night. Whether it was at Bo Naylor or whatever, if he was pissed at Bo Naylor, maybe I understand it. Maybe a little bit I'm understanding. Also, Tanner Bybee, you've sucked this year. I think who you're truly mad at is yourself. Like, his second half has been awful with a capital A.
Yeah, it's been bad.
It's been really bad, where I can make the argument he's been the worst pitcher in the rotation in the second
You think
half.
he's the worst ace in baseball?
I can't even classify him as that anymore.
You have to.
I mean, he's got the highest ERA, I think, in our rotation. He's been awful. On the flip side, let's talk about Parker Messick. He's been doing historic things.
Yeah, he's been
first
great.
Two starts.
He's been great.
Awesome stuff. And we talked about him a little on last week's. Then he followed it up with yesterday. Thank God for Parker Messick, because the team got 3 hits in the first inning, 3 runs, and did not get a hit the rest of the game. Thank God Parker Messick was there. But overall, all in all, this thing is over.
Yeah, it's over. You heard it from me first. I'm going to pull the Walter White from Breaking Bad. We're done when I say we're done. And I'm saying we're done.
No, we're done when I said we were done.
No.
And I said, we're Labor Day. I said it the previous holiday of the summer.
Yeah, but we weren't done. We're done now.
So you think. It's been done for a while. All right, let's move on. It's the time. It's exciting.
Oh, shoot.
It's college football. And in the words of the great Gus Johnson, they'll be on your TV screen Saturday at noon, and here they come, the world-famous Ohio State Buckeyes.
You know who's got the anthem for college football this year?
Yes, MGK. Moving on to the next
Bobblehead
topic.
right next to me if you're looking.
All right.
Don't wait, run fast.
Moving on to the next topic of the Ohio State-Texas game.
Yeah,
you got 1 versus 3. You got a semifinals matchup. This is everything you want.
New quarterbacks for each team starting.
It's a different team, though. You had a lot of guys in the league, especially Ohio State. I mean, you think of how many guys they lost the draft. Texas did, too. I mean, we were just talking about, well, one of them we were talking about on last week's show, Isaiah Bond, no longer around.
Yeah. I mean, but Ohio State's got probably, easily 2 top 10. You could argue probably 2 top 5 players in the country still, Downs on defense, and obviously Jeremiah Smith out wide.
Yes, absolutely.
So I still think, and the game's being hosted at home for the Buckeyes. I think the Buckeyes go in with it. I didn't see what the line is. I'm going to imagine it's
Ohio
probably
State,
only a couple points.
Ohio State, a 1.5 favorite.
Yeah, so it's damn near a pick 'em. They basically just had to pick one of these teams, and I'm guessing they're doing with the same thing that I'm doing, is that's giving that the home team the advantage here, because college football is such a different atmosphere. The home games are so much different, I feel like, in college football than almost any other environment. I'm looking forward to this game a lot. For some reason, I want to pick Texas. this is going to be a good game. I'm actually going to be in Boston for this game. We're visiting friend of the show. Kyle and I are visiting another friend of the show, Phil Sprons, who's been on the show before. We're going to Beantown, and we're planning on going to the Ohio State Backers Bar for this game.
Oh yeah, I've been to that bar.
So have I. We went together.
Place.
We were there together when we moved Sprons in.
Yeah, so, that's a great bar.
Yeah, it is.
And then also tell people you're going to go to Fenway for the first time.
I'll be going to Fenway for the first time on Labor Day itself. Kyle and I have to. The game's at like 1:30. Game should be over around 4:30 at the latest. Our flight's at 8, so we got to book it to get to the airport right after.
The Guardians' offense will make sure you're out of there by 3:30. Promise.
Wow, biggest favor they've done for me all year.
They're not going to get hits. They'll move that thing along just fine.
Yeah, so
for
busy,
you.
very busy weekend in Boston coming up. But I will be at the Ohio State Backers Bar for this game. I'm gonna pick the Buckeyes, man. Julian Sayin, first game starting for the big quarterback.
What a hell of a way to debut.
Yeah, against the number 1 team in the country. At least he can say that he's hosting the number 1 team in the country. I'm gonna go Buckeyes. I'm gonna go Buckeyes in this one, actually.
All right, so I'm nervous just because I look at how much Ohio State lost, but I know that they always replenish the well. I guess that was a double word there, but yes, They replenish their stock well, I should say. What's interesting here is Julian saying, transfer from Alabama. We'll see what happens. Folks seem to really like him. We'll see. I mean, for me to come out and think that, I think people are going to go nuts either way because you have a quarterback that just led you to a national title. Folks, there's naturally going to be a little bit of a drop-off. Doesn't mean the kid won't be where Will was at the end of the year.
Sure.
But naturally, it may not look pretty. I love the running game. C.J. Donaldson transfer from West Virginia, and then James Peoples. That's your 2 backs, I think.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be quite the combination it was last year, but I think it will still be better than most. And then, of course, you can't say enough about the guy on the outside who, if the college football didn't have – if they had NBA rules, probably would have been your number 1 pick last year to the Tennessee Titans.
Jeremiah Smith.
Yes. So Julian's saying, I'm not asking you to get complicated and go nuts. Just find 4 and run the ball. And I think Ohio State should be okay. Arch Manning, many prognosticators think because of his last name, he's God's gift to quarterbacking already. We're already hearing about
Kid's still a hell of a player.
Him coming and being the number 1 overall pick. We haven't seen that much.
No, we haven't seen a lot of him. I mean, what we've seen, though, he has been good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll see. This is a huge test for him, too, as it is for Julian Sayin. Texas does have a little bit more they recouped off of last year's roster, right? So we'll see. And man. I want to pick Ohio State so bad.
I was the opposite. I said I wanted to pick Texas.
Of course, you hate the Buckeyes.
I'm not a fan.
Screw it. I'm going with my heart. Give me the Buckeyes.
Did you do a little Gus Johnson on that?
Yeah, give me the Buckeyes.
Did you smell barbecue back there?
That's right. Give me the Buckeyes. If I say OH, you're not going to say IO, so I'll have to answer myself. OH. IO. Kevin's lame. All right.
I know.
Kevin, let's talk about your team. Top 10 matchup.
That's right.
In the olden days, and I don't know if they still do.
Catholics versus convicts.
That's what they called this thing. So this is down in Miami.
Yep.
Right? Producer Derek loves that nickname of a football
Catholics
game.
versus convicts.
He's cheesing ear to ear.
I will say, I remember this would have been back 2017, 2018, still during the Ian Buck era. And Braxton Berrios was still part of the Miami Hurricanes, and Notre Dame went into Miami and got routed by the Hurricanes. You and I were roommates at the time, and Braxton Berrios had a hell of a game, and he kept doing the hands behind the back like he was in handcuffs, walking to the sideline, and I was like, son of a bitch. I was so pissed off. They were taunting us, acting like convicts. Like, what are we supposed to do? Just do the
Hail Mary,
do the Holy Trinity as soon as we, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, I'm looking forward to this one.
Another
two different
matchup.
Another great matchup. Notre Dame has a lot of returning players as well. You know, the biggest loss probably Xavier Watts, and then Mitchell Evans. You know, good tight end for us. You and I met him at one point.
Yeah, we did. Where did he get drafted to?
He got drafted to the Carolina Panthers. So he will be a Panther along with.
Did he make the club?
I did not see that this morning. I'm not sure, but Xavier Watts, biggest loss on defense, but we did replace him with an Alabama player named Devontae Smith, who was a safety
Not
for
the
them.
receiver for the Eagles.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. So 2 Alabama players of the same name. This one now coming to the Irish to play safety to fill in for Watts. So we're looking forward to that. And a lot of returning players for the Irish. The only thing really different on offense is C.J. Carr stepping in at quarterback. But we've got the same running back tandem. I think you could argue probably best running back tandem in the country. Jeremiah Love, number 4 Jeremiah. And Jadarian Price as well, and Aeneas Williams. They got a couple other guys that rotate there in the backfield. Same wide receiving core, Jaden Greathouse, Jordan Faison. So a lot of
Bo Collins left, right?
Bo Collins, yeah, he was a 5th year who came from Clemson.
Okay.
I didn't see where he went in the draft or as an undrafted. He's with the Giants now.
Because I actually saw Jameis throwing him a touchdown the other day on a preseason highlight.
Oh, we love to see that. We love to see that. Former Brown to former Fighting Irishman.
You love to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now in this game, Miami now has Carson Beck coming. I think it is a little bit of a downgrade. I shouldn't say a little bit. I think it's a very significant downgrade from Cam Ward. I do think on paper Notre Dame should take care of business going into Miami, but first weekend in college football, that Miami crowd's going to be rowdy as hell, and I have a bad feeling about C.J. Carr's first game being in Miami, so unfortunately I'm taking the Irish to start 0-1.
Okay. Well, hey, at least you weren't a homer. I can't criticize you for that. You know what? I actually think Notre Dame returned a lot. I think the quarterback is a big question. That's Lloyd Carr's grandson, former Michigan coach,
right,
by the way.
Which C.J. Carr actually got a lot of crap from people in Michigan for coming to Notre Dame, considering that's
I'm sure he did.
A big rivalry amongst fan bases right now, not necessarily in college football currently, but over the last 10 to 15 years it has been.
They probably thought that Lloyd's grandson would be a shoo-in to be on wearing the maize and blue.
Yeah, well, little did they know that they were going to send basically every dollar they had after that Bryce Underwood kid.
We'll see him debut this weekend
That's
against
right.
New Mexico, too. So look at us. Look at our programs. We could agree on this. We're playing legit teams. Michigan's playing New Mexico.
That's
the hell
right.
with them.
That's right.
The hell with the maize and blue.
like that. You ever seen that meme with the Bloods and Crips holding up the flags tied together?
Yeah.
That's like what we're doing right now.
Not on the level, but sure. On a very minor league level, I guess.
Oh, man.
You know what? I think Carson Beck stinks. And for that reason alone,
you're out. You're out.
Reason alone, I'm going to take the Irish.
Go Irish, baby.
I think Carson Beck stinks. We'll see, though. Like you said, the one thing that my team gets to play at home, your team's got to go on the road. That's a big difference.
We had to do this last year, too. We had to go into A&M and take care of business there. And they did.
You did.
And then, actually, week 2, we got A&M coming into South Bend. So the first 2 games are kind of, I'm not going to say a gauntlet, but they are, like, Notre Dame's going up against some pretty prestigious universities.
Well, sure, you
got
you got probably the best team out of the ACC from one of them, and then you got a consistent
top 5 SEC team. Would you say top 6, 7? I mean, the SEC is loaded.
Yeah, well,
I'm going to say consistently a top 8 team in the SEC.
Yeah, because now you got everybody in the conferences. So another big one, LSU. At number 4, Clemson. Folks seem to love Cade Klubnik. Same thing. And no, folks seem to love this guy. And
you like Garrett Nussmeier more, don't you? You take me as a Nussmeier guy.
I don't really have any sort of affinity.
You don't have a dog in this fight?
Garrett Nussmeier. I think I like LSU, though. Although Brian Kelly, you know this better than everybody, that guy never wins a big game, though.
No, he can't do it. He had so many big games while he was the head coach at Notre Dame. He can't. I'm going to take Dabo and the gang. I'm going strictly home teams all the way down. I'm taking Ohio State in Ohio, Clemson in Death Valley,
in South Carolina, yeah.
and then Miami and Miami.
Well,
For the big, I think it's funny. These are the only 3 games that we're highlighting right now. These are the only 3 games where it's ranked opponent versus ranked opponent, and they are all top 10 programs. I hope we're in for 3 really good football games this weekend.
Well, these are your headliners, right? This is like you go to a concert and you got some games with some ranked teams. Like I saw Tennessee and Syracuse. Okay, it might be an okay game. These are your headliners.
This is what you turn on the TV on for.
This is what you paid the money for, right? So I'm looking forward to it. We'll talk about it next week. Obviously, we'll have a Browns heavy show, but of course, we're going to recap both these games because this is good stuff, man. So we're excited for both of our teams who obviously we know were the best 2 teams that you could have possibly been last year. So
yeah.
All right.
It ended up being a good national championship game in the second half.
All right, let's talk about odds and ends, and the Iowa State-Kansas State rivalry game was won by Iowa State.
Farmageddon.
Yes, but it wasn't in the farms. It was actually out in potato land in the country of Ireland.
Right.
So that was the big week 0. Everybody wanted to make a big crisis about the Browns keeping 4 quarterbacks. Well, they didn't, and the Steelers did. So why all the Browns were getting so much national hate? How come I don't see these Steelers storylines of keeping 4 quarterbacks?
Because they're not the Browns. I mean, when you have the last quarter century of history like the Browns do, and they start doing this stuff, then it's okay. They're trying to outsmart everybody again, and they're bringing in 4 quarterbacks. The Steelers, I mean, they have I shouldn't even say last quarter century of us watching, but their entire history has just been stable, and you can trust what they're going about their business for. That's probably why that they're not getting any hate right now.
Maybe they're going to put Will Howard on IR with that broken hand.
Man.
That'd be my guess, and then Rudolph's the backup.
That'd be my guess, too.
But
and then they're going to have to probably pick one or the other between Rudolph and Thompson, and they're probably going to end up picking Rudolph. Although Skylar Thompson had a heck of a preseason.
Yeah, maybe Howard just goes on IR all year.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. And then you're speaking of Notre Dame, a former Irish alumni signs the biggest contract for safeties in free agent history. Kyle Hamilton.
4 years, $100 million.
Huge money for a safety. I think that's a little too much for a safety. It's not a corner.
No, it's not. But Kyle Hamilton does a lot for that team. He moves into the box a lot. I want to say I kind of want to say he's like Grant Delpit on steroids. Like Grant Delpit's a very, above average safety, great safety. I trust him in the box. I trust him deep, roaming as a free safety. Kyle Hamilton does a lot of that same stuff, although he's way better in the box than Grant Delpit is. So yeah, I think Kyle Hamilton, huge contract. Go Irish, obviously with him, but big contract. And I don't know if I would have given him that money, but. Proud to say he's from the University of Notre Dame. I'm not too happy that he's continuing to stay with the Ravens, though. That's all I'll say.
And then finally in our odds and ends segment here, point number 4 of odds and ends, Cam Ward, number 1 overall pick. They wasted no time. He's in charge. He's a captain.
Yeah, and this kind of reminds me of what the Bengals did back in 2020. You remember? Joe Burrow was captain right off rip.
Yep.
Right off rip for the Bengals. So. Very interesting. I have a lot of, I've been an active apologist or truther, I guess you could say, for Cam Ward. I have a lot of high expectations for this kid. Didn't expect him to be named captain immediately, but it doesn't surprise me that his leadership's already being felt in that locker room.
Yeah, I could probably agree. That's a good side as a number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
They're impressing a lot of folks in the organization.
Yeah.
And to walk into a room of vets and become a captain.
Yeah, and done with, I believe that's all we have for odds and ends, Jerome? That's it. I did want to shout out, I meant to bring this up at the beginning of the episode, but I'm going to bring it up now. Just random, not sports related at all, but producer Eric and I had gone to see the movie Weapons over this last weekend. It's gotten a lot of buzz. It's gotten a lot of buzz in the theaters. We're trying to do our part to keep the theaters post-COVID still in business. We're doing our part. If you are into horror, mystery at all, and are in for twists and turns, this sounds like a paid promotion as I'm going over this, but it was a fun theater experience. If you're in for the unpredictability of a movie and twists and turns and stuff, I definitely recommend going to see it. It was one of the cooler movie theater experiences I've had recently.
Well, I'm glad you folks enjoyed yourselves.
Yeah.
All right, that'll do it for this week's show. if check out the new TikTok we just posted. Kevin and I got into a debate who is the best Browns cornerback since 1999.
Yeah, and we talked about it last week too.
That's right. And we posted that. Is it Denzel Ward or is it Joe Hayden? That's Team Hayden. I'm Team Ward.
I'm Team Hayden.
Yeah, I said that's Team Hayden and pointed at you. So.
Well, some people are listening on Spotify. They might not have the video on. So
okay, fair enough. That's a good point. Jerome's Team Ward, Kevin's Team Hayden. Good point. So check that out. Comment, interact with it. Give us your opinion on that. And then you can also follow us on Instagram, and we do let you know typically on the Instagram page on our story every Thursday when a new episode is released. Yep. We do try to do that and usually post a little summary of the episode. Typically.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm going to take a little bit of fault. I've slacked the last 2 episodes, but this will be posted tomorrow morning.
We do have some new help in the social media department behind the scenes too, though. So
yeah,
we're getting there.
We're figuring it out.
It
took 43 episodes. We're figuring it out.
It's a work in progress.
It's a process. Yeah, we're coming up on a year almost, buddy.
Yeah, it's almost going to be a year anniversary show. Yeah, producer Derek, we're going to pie him in the face with a cake. That's the plan for the big year anniversary.
Now his jaw is like how yours was after Nolan Jones hit that home run.
Very comparable.
Floored.
Yeah, very comparable. Anyway, we are available on 3 different platforms. That's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. And then, of course, on the social medias, on the Twitter or X, on the Instagram. And then, like I said, check out that TikTok we posted as well. That'll do it. Take it easy, everybody. We'll see you next week. Go Buckeyes!
Go Irish!